Hey everybody, we got a Sony to look at, a receiver, and the model number is STR-DE545, and you can see what's wrong with it. Right there, it's in protect mode. It won't do anything. You can turn it on and unplug it all you want, and it still just comes up in protect mode. So that's what we get to look at.
Wow. Mike's! Whoa! Let's get to the video.
So to start out here, I just want to mention that the owner had this set on 8 ohms, and then over here had 2 sets of speakers that were different. One set was an 8 ohm and the other set was a 4 ohm. But you cannot do that, because if you read this little guide down here, it says front A plus B, both of these has to be between 8 ohms and 16 ohms. If you want to use a 4 ohm speaker, it has to be the front A or B. It can't be both. And then you can put a 4 to 16 ohm speaker on there. But you can't have a 8 ohm on one and a 4 ohm on the other in either configuration. And to lock that in even more, here's a little note right there telling you the same thing. So you could have an 8 ohm connected to the rear and then have 4 ohms connected to the front. This is just the guide that you need to follow, and if you don't follow these guides, then you're going to end up heating up the amp more than what it should be, because you get the wrong resistance. And amps are made to work in specific ways, so they that could be what put this in protect mode. I don't know yet. We'll find out what blew, if anything blew, which something's wrong, but we don't know yet. And just follow the guidelines on the back. That's your best choice right there. So I took the top off this, and if you look inside here, it looks like I need to do a little bit of house cleaning first, because it's pretty dusty in there. The board is dark green, but you can see it looks lighter because there's just a lot of dust in there. And this sits out in the garage, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. Dust is going to find its way in everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and I'm going to blow all the dust out of this and get it cleaned out as best I can, and then we'll start looking at it. So I took this out and blew it out, and you can still see it's a little bit dusty, because right there I put my fingerprint down there. So I'd have to take a brush or something. It's not that important to me though, but you can see the board is dark greener. So after just, I noticed this before I blew it out, because I was just looking at the inside, seeing what was going on and everything, and I wanted to show you what I saw. I'm gonna grab a light here to help you be able to see it better. I'm going to stick that there, and then I'm going to zoom into something right there. You see that right there? That's a resistor. That resistor is burnt up, and I'll show you a picture up in the corner here somewhere that is, I believe, a 1K resistor. And it's in the protect, one of the protect circuits. So that got a little warm, toasted it up a little bit. So I guess that's where we're going to start our search and try to figure out what's going on there. And we'll test all these components in the area, because these are most likely in that same protect circuit. Another thing I noticed is these right here These are some pretty stout jumpers. Usually you just see little flimsy ones down here like this. These are some tough ones. These are big ones. I haven't seen those in a long time. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that and go from there. And what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to remove all this. So after I do that, we'll see what the other side looks like, see if there's anything burnt up or damaged besides that resistor, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got it all yanked out of there, and it actually don't look too bad. There's probably a handful of maybe a half a dozen or two bad solder joints that I'll probably end up touching up. They're not really bad though, but you know, once they start a little cracking them, I like to touch them up a little bit, because you never know during the heating and cooling down how much more they're going to crack in some time or another, you know. And you can notice from this angle that this area right here is a lot darker than the rest. So it's been getting kind of warm right there. It looks like these two spots right here, there's two power amplifiers there, and those amplifiers control the I guess it's the muting and standby functions. I don't know why they get so hot, but yeah, it looks like all the stuff in this dark area, the flux from within the solder, it was bubbling up around the contact where the leg goes through and where the solder is. It's just like it all heated up and started bubbling or close to it or something. But yeah, our spot for our resistor that burnt up, where's my finger? Yeah, is right there. You can see it's that one right there, and you can see the top one is a bad solder joint there. So there's a lot of those, you know, like I said, half dozen or a dozen that I'm gonna go through, but this one we know is bad, of course. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, is I'm just gonna check all the components that have to do with that circuit and make sure they're all good, and we'll replace that resistor, and then anything else that's bad, and then if it works, then we'll see if it works. We'll just take it a little bit at a time. All right, I got everything touched up, all the bad solder joints. Like I said, wasn't too many of them. We got our new 1K resistor in there, and I want to show you something. I'll put up in the corner up there what the schematic says all these resistor sizes are, and they say they're 1/4 watt, but if we look down here where I put that resistor in, which is right here, that resistor looks a lot bigger than the rest of them, don't they? And I couldn't find anything else wrong with anything else in that circuitry, and I followed away from this circuitry to other things, which they go to all our power transistors there, output transistors, and everything seems to be fine. So I'm hoping that just that resistor burnt up for some reason, and we're gonna find out real quick, because right now I'm gonna throw this all together and we're gonna see if it works or not. All right, we got it all together temporarily. I just put this top on there so I could set the speakers on there, but here we go. First time. I saved it for you guys, so if it blows, it goes. All right. Demonstration mode. Still in protect mode. I forgot what speakers I had. Oh, protect mode still. Must be, I must have missed something. Auxiliary. Yep. Guess back to the drawing board. I missed something. Got a treat. Took the top back off. Have to show you this. That's the resistor we just replaced. It burnt up already. So I missed something associated with this circuit. Well, everything in that circuit was fine, so it's something that leads to that circuit or something like that. So we're going to have to check this out a little bit more, find out what the heck's going on. So this is the part of the video to where I tell you that when electronics parts break, they break for good. Well, I have doubts about that. Let me let you watch this little clip right here, and then we'll, if you don't figure it out in this clip, we'll get back to it right afterwards. Alright, so you could see in that video that this thing worked fine. And I showed it for what, a couple minutes? And everything worked fine. It played fine. Yeah, so when electronics goes bad, sometimes it isn't permanent. So that started working again. Yeah, so I'll tell you kind of a little backstory about that. Thing started working again after I pulled this amp out right here, because I narrowed it down to being that this is the center channel. I don't know if you've seen me point to the center channel on that one, but it was working fine. But previous to that video, I had taken this out because I determined this was the bad component. this is what was putting it into protect mode. And I'm going to put my meter on here, and if you watch the meter, when I hit the power button, you'll see the voltage that's on that center channel. Well, let me plug it in first, that might help. All right, so 29 volts. All right, there's not supposed to be 29 volts there. Here's what a good one looks like, and I'm measuring it right on these resistors here. That's what a good one looks like. Goes right back down to nothing. So it doesn't matter which pin you touch on here, it's going to be 29 volts. You can see it's actually going down right now. And if I power it on, boom, jumps up 35. It was up there 40. I've seen it as high as 59, I think it is. But yeah, so that led me to believe that this was bad because everything else in the circuitry was fine. So I took this out, and then this thing set for weeks and weeks and weeks because I was busy doing other stuff. Well, I compared this to a brand new one, and it showed that it was bad. And I'll throw that in here somewhere, just me comparing these two for a real quick, check, just to show you the difference. Well, then I put this back in there because I wanted to start part of the video over to make it more clear. And when I put this back in there, everything started working. And it worked, and it worked. I listened to it, and I cranked this stereo up, and everything was working fine, and it would just not go into protect mode again. Well, I decided, okay, I'm gonna play a game with it if it's gonna play games with me. So I gave it back to the owner and says, okay, play this until this thing breaks again or goes into protect mode again. Well, he took it and had it set around for a couple weeks, and then went to plug it in to hook it up and everything, and boom, it went right into protect mode. Didn't make any sense, and it burnt up the resistor that I showed you earlier. So yeah, so he didn't even get a chance to play around with it because it just burnt right up right away. So now we got it back here, and now we're going to take this out because we got voltage coming across here, and we checked everything else, and it comes to this right here. I can take this out and leave it out, and this thing will play all day with no problem because this is the center channel. And if you just normally listen to the radio or whatever and not use the center channel, then it'll work fine forever, But as soon as you put this back in there and you try to start playing the center channel, or just put this back in there, it's going to test it first, and then it's going to fail. So when it's out of there, it goes and tests it, but it doesn't see anything, so it just passes it by, and you can use it as much as you want. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to compare these two, and then we'll throw the new one in here, and we'll see if that gets us anywhere. We'll test our voltage across this again, and then we'll see if it comes out to be 0. Maybe this will, work again for a while and fail, and then it wouldn't be this part, but that's my guess is it's this part right here. So let me get at it. Hey, all right, I spared you guys the video section about comparing the two, the good one and the bad one. This is the bad one. I have original wrote on there. This is the one that was in there. I spared you guys because testing them, there was no difference at all. There was no readings at all on it. If you put your meter in diode mode, put your black one, your black probe on pin 8, which is the ground, and you test all the other pins, there's absolutely no readings at all So yeah, if you put your meter in resist ohms, I mean, you'll get a reading on 3 and 4, pins 3 and 4. When you're touching the first one, pin 1, I think you get like 5.7 something. I think it was probably K or something, I don't know. Them are the only two pins that read anything, and they both read exactly the same. So I was thinking, oh, so when I ordered these from China, did I just get bad ones, get used ones, and they're bad, or what? So yeah, that didn't make no sense why there was no different readings at all. Now, am I going to put this one back in there sometime and it's going to work fine for a while until something heats up on this and cures itself, or it's going to cure itself now while it's not in there, and then when you heat it up, that's when it goes bad. It could be, I don't know. We'll find that out with this one though. So we'll do the same thing. Got my meter on volts, and we'll put it on the pin that we put it on previously with the old one, and I'll turn it on, and we got nothing. So that's good. And it clicked, so that's good. So no voltage is good voltage. And we should have no protect mode. Yeah, so norm surround, I think that says. I'm reading it upside down. So yeah, it's not going in protect mode anymore. So yeah, that is definitely a strange one. I think, if I remember correctly, I think I already posted the video up there to where I think I said something about electronic components repairing themselves. If you aren't familiar with that, you could look it up online and you can find out that they are making electronic components that do repair themselves. And that's what I was thinking with that other video. I can't remember exactly what it was, and that's what I was thinking about with this one. With this sitting out of the circuitry, this thing's repairing itself, but then when you put it in the circuitry and you start using it a little bit, then it goes bad again. But because you've seen that this one did work again, but then it failed again. So yeah, it's flaky. So yeah, so for right now, I guess we can consider this working. Now I'm going to put it back together. And I replaced that resistor in there too, the 1K ohm resistor. Put a new one in there. So for right now, I'll put this together. I'm going to give it to the customer and let him play this, see if he can even get it to work, you know. Since it does have a new chip in there, it should. But yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, when you're first looking at an amp, first thing to do to point in the right direction is test the voltage on these big ceramic resistors. Just turn it, I mean, if it's in protect mode, you can just leave it on, and then just touch each one and see if you're getting any voltage. If you're getting voltage, then it's bad. Something in that circuitry is bad. So this is the center channel amp. So like I said, you can use this thing without this one even in the circuit board. But if you ever want to use it for surround, then you're gonna have to put that in there. But yeah, so I think that's it for this one for now. I'll give it back to him, and by the time I get the video posted, it'll probably be a while. So hopefully he'll use it by then, and then right after this, I'll let you know if it worked or if it didn't work, and what we need to do if it didn't work. But yeah, as of right now, it's fine. All right, enough blubbering, enough blabbing, I guess. and we'll see you in the next one.